So let's take here and whatever. I'm going to get rid of this because we know it. We know true over everything. This is not erasing the way I want it to. That didn't help. Yeah, I guess that would work. Thank you. Okay. All right. So now let's go to the positive predictive value. Well, this is easy. It's true over everything. So you look at that row and you go, what's true? Well, it's true positive over everything in that row, true positive plus false positive. Okay? And because we're looking at positive predictive value, everything is positive, right? All happy. Okay? Positive predictive value. And same with negative predictive value. You take the row, you look at what's true, true negative, over true negative plus false negative. Everything in there is negative, so that's your negative predictive value. All right, so we just went through all the equations that we need except for one more, and that's accuracy. All right, maybe you don't need it quite that small. Okay, and so accuracy is still the same equation, true over everything. And so in this case, we're going to take the entire table and we're going to say accuracy is true. And so in our table, we have true positive plus true negative over everything. Everything in the table. True positive plus true negative plus false positive plus false negative. That's your accuracy. Okay? Very simple. Now, the other thing we want to talk about is where does accuracy fall? Okay, so I'm going to actually go to a new page here. Is not what I just showed you. Okay? That's the easy stuff because the equation's all the same. True over everything, right? It's all the same. You just have to remember which column is which. That's simple because the column with all the positive stuff is on top, right? All the negative is, or the row with all the positive is on top. The row with the negative is on the bottom. The sensitivity, if you go from left to right, which is normal English, right? You write everything left to right. If you go in alphabetical order, you have sensitivity on the left and you end up with specificity on the right. It's that simple. So you never get confused about which column is what. So there's your columns. The hard part is reading the questions and putting the information in the correct quadrant.
I agree.
Correct.
Right? So you just have to read carefully.
So practice?
Can we do an example?
Yeah.
Sure. Do you have an example we could do? And I'm going to say accurate. So, dang it. Always falls between the positive predictive value and the negative predictive value, and it always falls between the sensitivity and the specificity.
So falls between both.
Okay, so it always falls right in the middle of all of that. So if you have a positive predictive value of 99 and you have a negative predictive value of 30, it's going to be somewhere between those. Okay, if you have a sensitivity of 80 and so let's just write these down. I'm just making up numbers. So we're going to say our positive predictive value was 99%. Our negative predictive value, I said 30%. Our sensitivity is 80. And our specificity is, somebody give me a number.
63.
Okay, 90. That'd be good. All right, good. Okay, it's got to be between 80 and 90. Okay, has to be between 80 and 90. Now, yeah. Okay. It can't be, and that fits. It's still between 99 and 30, right? But it also has to be between 80 and 90. So that's it. That's your chi-square in total. All right. Now, the hardest part about this.
140 patients had non-invasive and invasive venous studies.
So we have 140 patients.
68 of the non-invasive and invasive studies have showed an acute DVT that are all considered to be true positive.
Okay, so let's set up our table here. We've got the non-invasive on these questions for the registry is always going to go over here.
Non-invasive?
Non-invasive. Okay. Invasive is the gold standard. Okay, so we're going to put that up here. Invasive is the gold standard. So we had 140 patients. We had 68 patients that something happened to them. I don't remember.
Positive DVT studies in both tests.
Okay, so both tests showed positive, and that would be 68. So if they're both positive, it has to be that's where the 68 goes. Right? That's the only quadrant that has both positive. Okay, good.
54 showed no evidence of disease.
On either test?
That's all it says.
Okay.
Do you
So,
want me to read the next part?
no, we're going to put 54 in here because it shows no evidence of disease. I'm going to interpret that as both, unless there's more information coming. I'm going to put it right there. Okay, go ahead.
12 were false negative.
Well, that's easy to put it in the right spot. 12 were false negatives.
The
Okay.
non-invasive study was negative, but the venogram was positive.
Okay, so they're just telling us that on the false negative that the non-invasive was negative, but the venogram was positive. Okay.
And in 6 cases, the non-invasive studies were positive, but the venogram was negative.
Well, look at that. They just filled out our table for us. We're good.
Okay. Can you say the 12 one? No.
Yeah. False negative. Let's see.
12 were false negative is exactly what the
So,
question
12
says.
non-invasive studies, 12, I'm trying to say it so it doesn't say false negative.
And then 6 of them were
12 non-invasive studies were negative, but the venogram was positive.
That confuses me. Is venogram invasive?
6 non-invasive were positive, but the venogram.
No, 12 non-invasive studies were negative, but the venogram was positive.
And then read the next one.
In 6 cases, the non-invasive studies were positive, but the venogram was negative.
That's what I just wrote.
Okay, let's find the specificity.
Okay, so sensitivity. What are we going to do?
Well,
68
It's going to be
over
this column, right? Sensitivity is this column here. Okay, so in this column, it's true over everything, so it's going to be 68 over everything in the column, which is 68 plus 12 equals 68 over somewhere around 80, okay? And so that's going to equal some number, okay? You do math at that point to come up with it, and I don't know, what is it, about 75% or something? 85% equals 85%. Okay, so our sensitivity is 85%. That is like the worst 5 I've ever made in my life. Okay, so let's do our specificity then. Will be this column, right? And so that's easy. True, what's true? So, no, let's fill in our okay, so then let's go back and put in our little things. This was true, positive. This was true, negative. This was false, positive. And this is false, negative. Okay. So, specificity is true over everything. So what's true in that column is 54. See, again, another bad 5.
54 over 60.
It's really hard to write on this because you can't rest your hand on it. 54 over 54 plus 6 equals 54 over 60. Okay, and that equals some other number. 54 divided by 60 is 90?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, there we go. Yeah, right. Okay, so now let's do our positive predictive value, okay? And so it's this row right across the top, and it's true over everything. So again, 68 over 68 plus 6 equals 68 over 74. What is that, about 80? 92%. Okay, 92%. All right. And then lastly, our negative predictive value right here, very simply, is true, which is 54 over everything, which is 54 plus 12 equals what percentage? 82%. All right, so we're going to take those numbers, 85, 90, 92, 90, 82, and we're going to just predict our accuracy to begin with. Okay, so our positive predictive value is 92. Our negative predictive value is 82. Our sensitivity is 85. And our specificity is 90. So, what is my range for my accuracy going to be? What is the range for the accuracy? What could it?
85 and 90.
Has to be between 85 and 90%, right? Has to be, because that's the only way it's going to fit into that little table. All right.
You do the equation for accuracy to figure out the answer now?
Yeah, so now we're going to do accuracy. All right? And accuracy, so let's just put A equals, okay, true over everything. So what's our true? Our true is 68 plus 54, right? Because we have two trues. We have true positive and true negative. Two trues, 54, divided by, and let's see, we had 140 patients, so everything should be 140. So what is 68 plus 54?
122.
122 over 140, which equals
87%.
87%. And is that where we predicted it would be?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's just no that was not bad when you did that. That helped. It's just the words like when they say things like non-based study was negative, but the venogram was positive.